Most contractors talk about marketing. Erie Home masters it. This is a company that pulled over $600 million in revenue last year, 100% residential work. They've been around since 1976. They're backed by private equity, and they've scaled to one of the largest residential roofing contractors in America. Now here's the real question. How are they using online marketing to fuel that kind of growth? In this video, I'm gonna look at their online marketing strategy from their website and SEO to their Google Ads, LSA, Facebook campaigns, and even the lead brokers they use. Success leaves clues. Erie Home has been at this for decades, and if you're a contractor who wants to grow, the fastest way to study what the best are already doing, then adapt it to your own market. So let's dive in and see exactly what Erie Home is doing online, and more importantly, what you can learn from it. Let's get started. So the first thing I want to look at is their website, right? They were before called Erie Metal Roofing, right? And they changed their name a few years ago to Erie Home. And the main reason obviously is that they wanted to expand their services to include not only roofing, but also a basement and other services, right? But obviously it looks like for Erie Home, they're just kind of focusing on two main things. It's roofing, right? 100% residential, right? And basement, 100% residential, right? So that's kind of the main thing you have to understand, right? So their website, the nations, that's their kind of the unique value proposition. And that might be true in their case. You see this a lot with a lot of websites, the unique value proposition. They have like, well, we've done 20,000 roofs, or we're the number one contractor. That's very common, right? For them, they have a mixture of reviews. Obviously, they probably done a lot of roofs in the country, probably the most residential roofs. According to Roofing Contractor magazine, they are the largest residential contractor. So that might be true, right? So they've done the work. Now, in terms of this, the call to action, they're not targeting anything that is more educational, but just straight to the point, which is get my free estimate, right? They're not including any lead magnets, right? They don't have anything educational. They have a lot of content on their website, right? They have over 478 pages. But what I mean by that is that they're not offering anything that provides value to the homeowner where they can make a decision, right? So the call to action is basically get a free estimate, right? They're using Apex, right, as a chat widget, right? A couple weeks ago, we looked at Victor's Homes and they didn't have any chat widget. Now, I definitely recommend having a chat widget because I'm sure Apex now uses AI to kind of book appointments. The way it works is basically you're giving another channel to have leads actually contact you, right? So most websites, you need 4 forms of communication. You need call, text, where people can call. You need people can fill out a form submission where they can get contacted. You need people that can actually book an appointment, and obviously chat widget. Now, for them, I don't see anything about setting an appointment, but I'm sure for them at that they figured out the solution that it probably doesn't work because they have probably 19 locations, and they need to understand which area to focus on and having that. So if you probably go through this, it's gonna send you through a channel where they can actually find which area to send you, because obviously the website is really just it's the whole, right? It's not really just targeting one specific location. They have 19 locations. So they have really high quality images, right? They have, so look, their website says 25,000 reviews. So when we counted, it was 12,000 reviews on Google, and they probably have overall 25,000 reviews when you include the other platforms, right? Obviously they're doing they're using a lot of lead brokers, right? I know for a fact they use this company called Active Prospect, which I'll go over in a second. But that's kind of a nutshell, like some of the things they're doing, right? Because they're spending a ton on Google, Facebook, all these different platforms, right? So I think the website design is really solid, right? It has high quality images, right, of the people, right? Good branding, has certifications, has really quality images on this, right? These are really good images, really good homes. Their target market looks like they're targeting the upper income, right? If you look at their customer avatar, more upper income, testimonials, right? And then they have the homepage. This is just the homepage, right? I'm gonna go in deep into the technical information, but overall, this is just the homepage that we found and some of the things that we looked at. So if you look at the page, right, overall performance, desktop is about 48. We use a tool called Page Speed Insight to tell you the speed of the site. Mobile performance is 65, right? With these tools, it actually tells you what's wrong and how it can improve the actual speed of the site. So cache, right? Blocking requests, some of the things that they found is some of the things that actually can be fixed easily. Not the biggest thing, right? So let's look at the overall, some of the things we found, right? So they're a local service provider, right? They have 19 Google business locations, right? We count their main location has 1,389 reviews, a 4.4 rating. On Google, they have 12,000 reviews. Overall, like they have 25,000 reviews. So just based on that alone, they're getting a ton of traffic from the reviews and the local SEO, right? That's bringing a ton of traffic. Now, I use a tool called Screaming Frog to kind of analyze their technical SEO. And overall, like there are about 478 pages indexed by Google. That means they have about 478 pages that are actually found by Google, that Google has actually crawled. Technical SEO is very solid. I didn't find a lot of errors, unlike the last company that I analyzed, right? And on-page SEO, they're following the golden rule, right? Overall, look at the on-page, where the keywords and the page title, meta description, and H1. Now, we use a tool called SEMrush, and we're going to also use Ahrefs to analyze the tools. But obviously, the thing that stands out, obviously, they have a very high authority score, right? So authority score, think about it as a credit score, right? The higher authority score, the more authoritative Google provides you, right? Overall, like most websites, even the ones high ranking on local service provider, between 20 and 30. Obviously, 36 is a lot. 41,000 organic search traffic, right? 5.4 search traffic in the paid search, right? 31,000 backlinks. This is an overview, right? The organic keywords, right? This is funny because Ahrefs gives you different information. The organic keywords on SEMrush has actually increased, while the organic keywords on Ahrefs actually decreased. Now, in terms of the traffic, right? 56% of the traffic is branded, 43% is non-branded. So that is a good indicator that they're actually spending a ton of money on advertising, right? And with branded search traffic, a lot of the way times it works, if you're doing advertising on Facebook, for example, people are going to Google your name. They're going to Google your name. They're going to find out what you're doing, and they're going to call you, right? But they might have come from Facebook, but they Googled your name and then they found that information. So overall, if you look at the keywords, right, 46% is about informational, 4% is navigational, 41% is commercial, and 8% transactional. So these are the keywords that are kind of the ones that drive leads, right? Commercial and transactional keywords. Navigational keywords are people just looking for pages on the site. Informational keywords are more the middle of the funnel instead of top of the funnel, right? Obviously, if you look at their organic keywords, if you look at overall, the percentage of traffic is really coming from their name, right? 20% is coming from their name. They're ranking for some really good educational keywords, like informational, like how to install metal roofing, number one, and it's driving 2% of the traffic, right? 800, traffic, and they're ranking number one. So obviously, they're ranking for a ton of the local search features, right? If you look at the local search, they're ranking for a ton of keywords on local search, but about 50% of the traffic is from the name, right? So let's look at their PPC traffic right now. We use a tool called SpyFu, not 100% accurate, but it gives you an idea of how much they're spending, right? They're spending about, according to SpyFu, about $166,000 a month on PPC, right? So it gives you an idea of the kind of money they're spending. Now, I don't know how accurate this is. This doesn't give you the much information. It doesn't tell you like the type of ads they're running. It doesn't tell you the landing pages you're using. But I'll show you what the landing pages you're using on Facebook in a second. But it gives you an idea of what they're doing and how much they're spending online, right? They probably were spending a lot more before, right? Looks like they were spending more before, but it's kind of dropped off, right? So if you look at their budget, in March 2025, about $254,000 per month, right? So it gives you an idea of the kind of volume to expect. All right, so Gridiron, right? And capital invest in Erie. So I want to make sure I mentioned that. So it gives you an idea. They probably have a lot of funds to invest in. So Ahrefs is another tool that we use to look at some of the SEO things that we're doing behind the scenes, right? So you see how SEMrush provided a different answer, right? They've had a drop off according to Ahrefs on organic keywords, right? Which is interesting. Now, if you look at the AI citation, they are appearing in a lot of different overviews, right? Over 164 on AI, Google AI overviews, 17 ChatGPT, Perplexity 30, Gemini 34. Now, basically what that means is that Google and these other platforms are using all the search traffic, the branding, that they're taking information and providing that to the user so they can actually look at what they're doing. So 98% of the traffic is from the US, right? Only a few is from other searches, right? In terms of intent keywords, right? Majority of it is non-branded here, according to this, right? And then the majority of the traffic is local, right? Non-local versus local. They're getting a lot of traffic that's non-local, right? It was different information on SEMrush, so it kind of gives you different information on there. So now, average traffic, if you look at all the things, they're betting about 9,000. SEMrush gives you 40,000. So take it with a grain of salt with these numbers. I mean, I probably think the SEMrush is much more accurate. It's hard to tell, right? And it kind of gives you an overview of what the traffic looks like overall, and some of the things that they're doing, right? So the big thing with them is these guys are doing heavy. They're heavy on Facebook advertising. If you look at their Facebook profile, they are doing they have 390 results. They've been running the same type of campaign for a long time, and they know what they're doing. These guys are the OGs in terms of Facebook advertising for roofing companies, right? They are basically doing good creative, right, with a good offer, and then basically qualifying the leads with basically a form fill or a landing page, right? And that's kind of, they do that obviously, and then obviously kind of the same type of like strategy, right? Enter your zip to check pricing and availability. That's kind of the call to action, right? Enter your zip code for availability. They're using AI now for the creative, right? And they're using different images, right? Different content. They have a ton of creative, right? A ton of offers, right? They have this ad, as literally seen this ad for about 10 years, right? 7 to 8 years. This ad has been working for like 7 to 8 years. Now, the thing with this ad, right, overall, is that the quality of the lead is not the highest, right? Now, they have a way to filter the leads where when it gets to, they have a call center where they actually set the appointment, and then when it gets to the sales rep, they actually close the deals. These guys, they have a 3-month training program for their sales reps, right? So they are really good at closing deals. And the thing is with this is that most people and we had this issue before, is that we would run ads similar to this and we'd get a ton of leads and it works. The issue is the quality was not the highest. So we had to have a call center to kind of qualify the leads. Even with that case, sometimes a lot of roofing companies didn't have the training to actually be successful with these types of campaigns. It takes skill to close deals from Facebook, because these ads, I know guarantee you will produce leads because it's running the same angle and same hooks for years. The quality is not the highest. So you have to have a filtering process, and obviously you have to know what you're doing with the sales. That's the thing to make money on this. This is one of the ads that goes straight to Facebook. Now they're using Unbounce, right? Like if you look at what they're using Unbounce, and they, again, same like thing, Unbounce. They have a qualifier where they go through this, right, information. They kind of have a form fill, get a free estimate, boom, all that, right? They have, obviously they're testing the different angles, right? And they have a really good landing page that creates information on that. And basically Facebook, straight to a landing page, and that's how they do the basement stuff. They have enough budget to spending, right? Like there's not like you're gonna spend $2,000 a month, $3,000 a month and expect to see results. There's not gonna happen, right? If you're creating this campaign, you have to test it out. You have to know what you're doing. You have to have a call center to qualify the lead, and then you have to have really good sales training to close the deals, because it's not going to work without the infrastructure, right? But this will drive leads, right? This stuff like this will definitely drive leads, and it's obviously been working for a long time, right? So other thing that I want to point out is that these guys, besides the ton of like leads that they're generating from online, right? Because with LSA, they're spending a ton of money. They have a ton of reviews with Google Ads, right? Is that these guys are spending a ton of money also on the lead aggregator. They have the same issue with a lot of companies, right? So they use software like Active Prospect to make sure that the leads they're getting from these aggregators are real people, right? And that's how they're spending maybe millions of dollars a month on these aggregators, right? And they're saving a ton of money with these with software like this, because they give you refunds if these leads are not like duplicates, right? They're duplicates or fraud or whatever. They give you leads. So that's kind of the nutshell wanted to go over, right? They've had amazing success with their growth. They're one of the few people that have really invested heavily on digital marketing for a long time. So I hope you guys found this video helpful, and we'll talk soon. So here's a takeaway. Erie Home didn't become a $600 million powerhouse by accident. They've been playing around the digital marketing game longer and smarter than most contractors even realize. From dominating reviews and local SEO to spending big on ads and filtering leads through a call center, they built a machine that keeps pumping out revenue. But here's the good news. You don't need a private equity checkbook or 50 years in business to start winning like they do. You just need the right systems and strategies, and that's what we help contractors build every single day. If you found this breakdown valuable, hit the subscribe button because I'm analyzing the top 100 roofing contractors in America little by little, and each video is packed with lessons you can apply immediately. And if you're ready to stop guessing and finally build a marketing engine that generates leads on autopilot, head over to contractmarketingpros.net and book a free strategy call with my team. We'll show you how to put these same systems to work in your business. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next breakdown.